Okay, so one thing you would have observed, there were more situational questions, and if I put you in some hypothetical situation and if I ask you what will be your opinion in that, now here Google can't help you much. So here the top I'll be receiving no will be of quality. Anyway, but you people have got the medium of communications nowadays, so you can share so many things. Let me just share my screen with you. Okay, so as far as the second module is concerned, there is one concept of capital structure theories pending to be done, will be covered later on after the completion of the third module, because I feel that the valuation of the firm and few other concepts of capital structure theories can be understood pretty well after we get to know more about time value of money and its applications in the capital budgeting. So the capital structure theories will be requiring 1.5 or 2 sessions will be taken later on. So we are jumping right now to a third module in which the significant portion is already done, which was the time value of money. You can recall that we had almost taken 7 to 8 sessions just for the time value of money, because I was aware about the great importance of this concept. Every calculations in the financial management at this level as well as the advanced level, the valuation of the securities, valuation of the businesses, so many things are dependent on the time value of money. So that's why it was taken priorly before doing anything in the FM. So let's just go to a third module, which is of the capital budgeting decision. Let me just share my screen with you. Now, if you want to find the detailed explanation of these concepts, this entire module, you may go to page number 281 of our textbook. Even the material of CA and CS are good for this. So page number 281 of the textbook I have circulated, you may refer that. Even in the financial management syllabus of the CA and CS, Prasanna Chandra is referred as a textbook. So I feel and I consider this as the Bible, Quran or Gita of financial management. So in case if you want to take a note of it. Well, it is also regarded as the investment decision. The capital budgeting decision is also regarded as the investment decision. Let's just go to a logical flow of entire financial management process, the core area of finance. It started with the capital structure decision, in which we decide the sources of finance, in which we try to decide the appropriate mix of debt and equity by using the leverage analysis, by using some other analysis too. Once you decide that in which proportion you want the money from which source of finance, now you want to spend it, right? Now the first spending will take place towards your long-term assets, long-term decisions. Sir, what is this long-term decisions, long-term assets? Now, basically, to run your business, you require some office, some administrative space. So it's a building. You might be requiring a land as well, obviously, if it is not a rented property. A capital budgeting decision. You require some machineries, appliances, equipments to run your business. A capital budgeting decision, sorry. You want to establish some processes. You want to purchase some furniture. Every sort of a fixed asset you purchase is a capital budgeting decision for you. So all these expenditures, which forms a part of your long-term benefits from the business, may be called as the capital expenditure. Accounting also states that if the economic benefits from the particular expenditure is for one or more accounting periods, then you call it as a capital expenditure. You record it as the asset in the balance sheet, and you generally charge the depreciation on that asset, right? If the economic benefits of any expenditure are only up to a 1 year, you may straight away charge it as an expense. But if it extends more than 1 year, you record it as an asset, and slowly and gradually you charge the depreciation on that particular expense. So all those decisions are pretty hard decisions, involves a tedious process, because those decisions are very irreversible in nature, you know. सुबह उठ के तुम डिसाइड नहीं कर सकते सर यहाँ पे बिल्डिंग नहीं लेना है, काम करते उधर लेते हैं. Can you do this? Do you have any scope of reversing your decision once you involve too much of money into land and building? No, right? So let's first understand what is this capital budgeting. Now, as the name itself suggests, it's a budgeting. So it means it is priorly done, prior to taking the decision whether to invest or not. So whether to purchase a machinery or not to purchase a machinery, you perform a capital budgeting exercise. It's done priorly before taking the decision. It is basically taken to take a decision that whether to invest or not. Right? So all the long-term capital investments will be falling in this bracket. Let's see the definitions. There are many, but these two were the most comprehensive I could find. So first is the capital budgeting is the process that a business uses to determine which proposed fixed asset purchases it should accept and which should be declined. Obviously, while making a capital expenditure in your fixed assets, furniture, equipments, you see various alternatives, right? So which alternative to be selected, which one to be declined, that may be given to you by the capital budgeting exercises. This process is used to create a quantitative view. I am specifically marking these words, quantitative view. That means it must be measurable. There must be a measurable criteria to take the decision whether to invest or not. So there may be various considerations for investment in any of these assets. Specifically, if you are staying in a Gujarat, then you may have the emotional reasons as well over here. हमारे तो पंडित जी ने कहा था, ज्योतिष जी ने कहा था कि अगर आप यहाँ पे इन्वेस्ट करोगे तो आपको बहुत धन प्राप्ति होने की संभावनाएं है, तो हम इन्वेस्ट कर लेते हैं. We took our mother over there at the site and mother said like, अच्छा यहाँ पे तो मेरी आत्मा को सुकून मिलता है, इतनी अच्छी प्लेस है, तो हम वहाँ पे इन्वेस्ट कर देते हैं. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be any other considerations. There should be considerations over and above the financial ones. But here in this module, we will be discussing just the financial outlook of the entire project. We will be evaluating this project from the financial point of view, from the cash inflow and cash outflow point of view. So other considerations will not be taken into account while doing this. Please take a note of it. So this process is used to create a quantitative view of each proposed fixed asset investment, thereby giving a rational basis for a decision making. You want some rational decision making to invest in this, you know. It must be backed by some data driven exercise. It must be backed by evaluation of the financial impact of this project, of this investment. Let's go to a second definition. Capital budgeting is the process a business undertakes to evaluate a potential major projects or investments. So it has given some examples as well. Construction of a new plant or a big investment in an outside venture are examples of the project that would require capital budgeting before they are approved or rejected. So 2 to 3 things I can identify from these definitions given to us. One is it must be quantitative in nature. सर यहाँ पे तो वाइब्स अच्छी आ रही थी इसलिए हमने यहाँ पे इन्वेस्ट कर दिया, नहीं, it must be a financial evaluation. Other considerations should not be taken here. Then the second thing is it is for the long term investments. What's the definition of long term, sir? No other definition, but as per the generally accepted understanding, it may be stated that if the economic benefits of any project or investment is stretching more than 1 year, then it may be called as a long term. Then the third thing which I can make out from this is that it is priorly done before taking a decision. Before taking a purchasing or investment decision, you take it prior to that. And please stick to the perspective of a company. Right now we are thinking from a perspective of a company. They want to do some investment into their machineries, plants, and various other buildings and land, you know, fixed assets. So we are there from their perspective. Okay. Let's go to some of the examples. So there may be, you know, infrastructural facility you want to build for your employees, for customers, for other stakeholders. Now, some of these investment decisions may have the direct impact on a sales, and some of the investment decisions may not have a direct impact. Like if I tell you that if one company decides to build a hospital for their employees, then how do you evaluate it from the financial point of view? Now you do a cost and benefit analysis from this, you know. If there was no hospital in that area, then your employees would have gone to some other places. And if your employees would have gone to some other places, then they would have taken some leaves in your organization. If they would have taken a leaves in your organization, your business and operations would have disturbed. So those disruptions in the business and operations are not taking place now because you have got the hospital in your locality. So that is the one point of view to look at the financial benefit you are getting. So it's a complicated exercise, you know, to see that what is the financial benefit you are receiving sometimes from the capital investment. Say if there is a road connection established by a company from a factory premises to some of the villages. Now, if there was no road, then these people would have spent some more amount of money, would have reached over here by using some other means of transportation. So they would have spent so much of money over there, right? Now, because of the fact that there is a new road connectivity now, they are doing some savings in the cost of transportation. So that is the financial benefit from this project. Some of the investment decisions may just be increasing the efficiency, effectiveness, and the productivity of the employee personnel. May not have a very direct impact on the sales, but on a long period of time, it may have an impact on the sales. Like if you take the research and development activities, Apple is known for their extreme capabilities of innovation and research, you know. You don't realize the benefit of it in a very short frame of time. You receive the benefits of this expenditure after a long period of time. You may receive, may not receive as well. So some welfare expenditure you incur for your employees working in your organization may not have direct impact, may have a direct impact too. So our first task while doing this exercise will be to evaluate and identify the financial cost and financial benefits. And accordingly, we will be taking the decisions by using some techniques. Those techniques will be discussed later on. Infrastructural projects, significant expenditure in the fixed assets, land and building. If Marwad University is to be established at Gauridhar or it should be established at Kalavar Road, that's a capital budgeting decision. If University is established over here, slightly in the outskirts, then possibly on the same evaluation of the project has to be done, you know. Research and development expense. So all are the examples of the capital expenditure where the capital budgeting process is required to be done. Now there are various difficulties associated with it, you know. And because of the fact that this capital investment decision is very difficult, there is the importance of capital budgeting exercise. Why capital budgeting process is important? Because the capital investment process is very, very, very difficult. Now, what are the various difficulties you face? The first one, it has the long-term impact. It changes the basic character of the firm. Sometimes you take some capital decisions like introduction of the new product, introduction to the new markets. Like if say Reliance Industries Limited was primarily engaged with oil and gas business earlier, and then they diversified into a telecommunication business. Now their basic nature of Reliance Industries Limited is changed. So introduction of the new product is a capital budgeting decision. We are evaluating that decision from a finance perspective. We'll see that what are the incremental benefits you receive because of the new product and what are the incremental costs you incur, and whether to take this decision or not purely from the spectacles of financial inflows and outflows. Other considerations are not considered over here right now. It changes the basic character of the firm. The capital budgeting decisions are irreversible in nature. हमने पूरी एक्सरसाइज कर ली और फिर जाके मालूम पड़ा सर ये नहीं करना था, तो तुम चेंज कर पाओगे इसको? नहीं कर सकोगे. 5 साल, 10 साल, 15 साल की लाइफ होती है इस डिसीजंस की. Substantial outlays. It involves too much of cash inflows and outflows. These decisions are very hard to take because they involve lot of money. Measurement problems. It's very difficult to see to measure the incremental benefits and cost of any project, you know. I have already stated quite a few examples. Say you are purchasing one HR screening software through which you try to screen the applications in the company, and you try to approve and reject some applications straight away by your analytical software you have taken in your HR department. Now that is a capital budgeting decision. That software will be involving too much of cash outflow, right? But what will be the financial benefits from this? You will be able to perform more efficiently and effectively. Earlier, you used to physically verify all the applications of the HR employees here, of the new recruitments and applications. Now that was involving a lot of tedious processes. Now that cost is saved. You are not doing it physically, you have automated it. So what is the financial benefit of it? That's something which is very hard to measure. That's why, that's why it is very important to put more focus on this. Because while taking this decision, you don't get many chances. You gotta take this decision within some time, and if you lack in identifying the relevant information and doing some financial analysis, then you may take some horrendous decisions there. You cannot reverse that too. There may be some uncertainties. This decisions involves 10 to 15 years, 20 years and more. Now, if the dynamics of the industry gets changed suddenly, then there may be an impact on your entire business program now. Say there was a useful life of a project only for 5 years, and there comes a corona. So for 2 years, your useful life is reduced, and you couldn't generate any amount of sales as well during this period. So you will have to do all the calculations again by taking the useful life as 3 years now, because 2 years are already elapsed. You can use this equipment only for 3 years more. So your dynamics have changed, uncertainties. So before 2019, if you analyze the stock of Tata Motors, it was doing good earlier, but then they had started recording some amount of losses in their Chinese operations. I'm talking about the Tata Motors, which is producing the commercial vehicles, primarily known for producing the commercial vehicles in India and across the globe. Now, they had established their traditional capacity in China for manufacturing and production of the commercial vehicles. Basically, their focus was more on the diesel engines and petrol engines. Now, there was a rapid expansion took place for the electronic vehicles in China. And, entire Chinese vehicle manufacturing was rapidly moving to the electronic vehicles. Now, what happens that earlier you had predicted that there will be 15 to 20 years of life for your traditional capacity, which was basically based on this diesel engines and petrol engines. Now, in accounting, there is a concept called impairment loss. Impairment loss. That you put, if you see that, your useful life of any of your major capital expenditure is reduced significantly. You were expecting the cash benefits from this project for 15 to 20 years earlier. Now it may be just limited to 5 years because the entire industry is moving to electronic vehicles rapidly. So they had booked the impairment loss, and there was a great impact on their profitabilities at that time. So many of the people started selling their stock, and it fell to a great extent. But they were not aware that it was just an impairment loss. Tata Motors were able to recover that. Because anyway, they have got the tremendous capacity, tremendous cash flow. They have got tremendous personnel too, They were bound to get recovered from that. So that's an uncertainty. You invest in some project, you invest in some line and some product, and you come to know that technological advancement has taken a place, and suddenly your project's useful life is reduced significantly. So that's why it is very difficult to make these judgments. Now changes are occurring with the ever increasing rate nowadays. Take the example of this Reliance businesses as well. They diversified into telecommunication business, and suddenly the 5G rollover was also there. So after establishing the 4G network across the India, now they are into a 5G network. So that again involves a significant cash outlays. So uncertainties takes place maybe due to some economic reasons, some political uncertainties, some technological advancements and disruptions taking place in the market. The next difficulty is that estimation of discounting rates and establishing the equivalences. Now, my friends, before making this decision, you are supposed to take various assumptions. Now, being a finance student, at least you are aware that the money you receive today is not equal to money you receive after 10 years, right? Money is losing its spine over a period of time due to inflationary factors. The 5,000 crores expected after 5 years is not equal to 5,000 crores received today. So at what rate you should do the present value calculations of this cash outflow and inflow, which you are expecting from your project? That is an assumption. How many number of years you are expecting this project to survive, to thrive? That is an assumption. So there are various estimates you make, by taking some assumptions. And those estimates may prove wrong in some long period of times. That's why it is very difficult to take this capital budgeting decision. So these are the all difficulties involved with capital budgeting exercises. Let me just have the confirmation from the students. Any point you couldn't understand? यहाँ पे कुछ भी ऐसा है जो मुझे और ज़्यादा explain करने की ज़रूरत है? Shall I move to the next point, please? Okay, received it from Urja and Vishal. Others I'm expecting. Vishal, Mohit as well. Mr. Dhaval too, Mr. Josam too. Okay, fine. Let's move ahead. Now, these are the types of various capital investments you make, Now, these types are dependent on some categories. Like the same student of MBA, MU can be bifurcated into male and female, can be bifurcated by the specialization they select. Similarly, you may have a type of capital expenditure. First category of bifurcation is the substance. Some of the assets may be physical, some may be intangible. Say you purchase a brand, or you purchase a technical know-how from any company, you purchase the intellectual property rights. That's a capital budgeting decision, but it is an intangible asset. Cannot be touched, cannot be seen, cannot be moved from one place to another place. It's an intangible in nature. But yes, it involves some economic benefits. The brand name you're using for a different company involves the economic benefits, obviously. Then it may be bifurcated based on the investment objective. Some decisions are strategic in nature, some are tactical in nature. Let me just give you one example. Say you are introducing a new product line. That's a strategic decision. Strategic decision for a long period of time. But in the same decision, say if you want to change a way of production of that particular goods, then it may be called as a tactical decision. So tactical decisions is basically related to implementation of a strategy. Now you want a specified goal, you're not making change in that, but what you just change the way of reaching to that goal, so that may be your tactical decision. So doing some changes here and there in the implementation process may be a tactical investment. So it may be further bifurcated into strategic investment or a tactical investment. So say Tata Motors wanted to go into a luxury car manufacturing by purchasing the Jaguar, right? So that may be a strategic decision. The changes in the manufacturing process of, say, a Jaguar, or deploying some new resources for the marketing and distribution, may be a tactical decision. It does not change the overall long-term strategy that they want to expand in the luxury car manufacturing. They are remaining to the same strategy, but only the way of achieving the goals are changed. So that is a tactical decision. So this both may be a capital investments. Then capital investments may be based on planning and control. Some expenditure may be mandatory in nature. You want to start a business, some machineries and equipments are bound to be purchased. You take a franchise, then that is applicable to even to a small businesses you start up. Say you take a Mongenis franchisee. So the deep freeze you will be purchasing. That's a mandatory investment for you. Franchisee fee you pay. Some non-refundable deposits you make. These are the mandatory investments for you. Some may be replacement in nature. Like already some machinery is there at a place, but you want to replace it with the technologically advanced machinery. So in that case, the difficulty is that your entire decision making will be based on the incremental benefits. Earlier as well, there was a 50,000 rupees of sales with the new machinery or with the old machinery. Now, because of the fact that we have got a new machinery, the sales is say reached to 60,000. So incremental benefits is just a 10,000 from this. So in the replacement decision, we generally make the analysis based on the incremental benefits and incremental costs. You are replacing something with another thing. Then it may be an expansion investments. Say the existing capacity for your manufacturing plant was just 80,000 units of production. Now you are increasing to 1 lakh units of production. So that's an expansion investment. It may be a diversification investments too. Diversification into new products, new segments, new markets. If the diversification has taken place into a new segment or a new product, then the financial evaluation is to be done on that. No, ऐसे थोड़ी ना डिसीजन लिए जाते हैं भैया. Being an HR manager and being a marketing manager too, you need to be extremely sound with taking the financial decisions over there. Whether to purchase a new HR software or not. What will be the incremental financial benefits from that? It's a capital budgeting decision. What will be the impact of the new marketing strategy on your sales, projected inflows and projected outflows? Whether to appoint an outsider marketing agency or we should have the inside marketing department. That's a financial decision, even though it is related to those departments. So finance cannot be taken away from any other fields, you know. Everything is closely related with each other. Then it may be R&D investment. Apple is known for their tremendous capacity on R&D and innovation. Research and developmental activities. There may be a miscellaneous investments to recreational facilities you want to establish for your employees. Some landscape gardens that may not have a direct impact on your sales. I am reiterating that. It may have the indirect impact because that may just be boosting your efficiency, effectiveness, or just a productivity at a personal individual level of your employee. But because of the fact that their productivity is boosted now, there may be some benefits economically in sales. We were doing the financial analysis of one IT company, and we could see that more and more percentage they had done the HR expense. No, HR expense as a percentage of their sales. So more and more percentage was there as an HR expense. There was an effect on their profitability percentage as well. Profitability percentage got also high. We were doing it for the TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, at one time. So possibly you may not have the direct impact, but sometimes you may have the impact indirectly too, you know. So that's very difficult to estimate. We'll see that later on how to do that. Interior decoration. Now, how do you evaluate the financial benefits from this? Now see, all the clients who are visiting your commercial premises, it may leave a good impact on their mind, you know. The chances of the conversion of those clients may be higher now because you have got a good interior decoration. The kind of ambience you put in your office may not have the direct impact on the sales, but it may leave a very significant impact on the visitors of this premises. So by looking at the data and historically observed data, by doing some predictions, by making some forecast, we may come to know that what will be the benefits and cost from this decision. So these are the various types of capital budgeting decisions. This is the process we have. First, obviously, if you just purchase a laptop, then also you look at the various tenders from the various dealers, right? तो ये तो बहुत बड़ा डिसीजन है, तो इसमें तो हम बहुत ज्यादा लोगों को इन्वॉल्व करते हैं. So you identify the various alternatives you have got. Whether the Marward University should be established at the Gauridhar or at Kalawar Road or at some other place, So all the alternatives putting together. Then the step number 2, which is not mentioned here, but that should be the preliminary screening. Preliminary screening. So all the alternatives you have mentioned somewhere, no, my friend. You'll not be doing the in-detail financial analysis of each and every alternative because there is a time and energy limitation for you, right? Resources are limited. So there has to be a preliminary screening. All those alternatives which are not fitting into a long-term objectives, goals, vision and mission of a company may be straight away eliminated right at the initial stage. So initial preliminary screening should also be there. There should be the second step. Then you assemble all the investment proposals which are further requiring the financial evaluation. Then you do the financial evaluation by using the capital budgeting techniques. We'll see those capital budgeting techniques later on. Then you appropriate a budget, you know. Now budget will be appropriated basically from whatever the sources of finance you have collected. The money you have collected, now you appropriate it into capital budgeting things. Now you implement a project and then you do the performance review of the project. Now in the performance review, you generally try to compare your expected outcomes with the actual outcomes. So say you are expecting this amount of sales and the actual outcome is quite different from that, then you may further analyze what may be the reasons behind these deviations. So if the deviations are abnormal in nature, then it may require some major modifications now. So that may be a performance review, you know. So this is how the entire process of capital budgeting looks like. You identify all the opportunities, you assemble it at one place, you do the preliminary screening of all the assembled opportunities. Some of the opportunities would be straight away rejected directly at the initial stage because you cannot do the financial evaluation of each and every alternative you get. Then you gather the information, financial information related to that project. Then you do the decision making. That decision making will be done by using the capital budgeting techniques. We'll see those techniques later on. Then you decide whether to invest or not. Once you decide you should invest in this alternative, then you appropriate a budget. You make a budget, the financial plan, that at what point of time the cash outflows will occur. So at the first year, what will be your spending? In the second year of the project implementation, what will be your spending? Accordingly, what will be a life of the project? During the lifetime of the project, how will you receive your inflows and outflows? So you allocate a money to that, you know. And then it comes the implementation, and then it comes the performance review, where you try to see basically the major deviations in your expected and actual outcomes. So what you had expected, what you have actually received. If there are major deviations, you may make some modifications in your long-term strategy. Well, so that is all about the capital budgeting process. May I again have a confirmation from the students that it is crystal clear till now? Anything requiring the further explanation, please let me know. Or else we may just have a confirmation that it's crystal clear till now. Yes, Mr. Joseph. See, these steps are not exhaustive in nature. This is just to tell you about what is the process, you know. So there may be 2 or more steps based on the tediousness and the complicatedness, which may be different from project to project basis. So 5 lakh rupees of investment may not involve all these steps, but a 50 lakhs rupees of involve may be involving few more steps. So I'm just telling you the process. Preliminary screening is not included over here, but you may include over there at the second step. So you should not fix it that there are only the 6 steps for the capital budgeting process. It may further be extended. Meanwhile, you may have some other thing as well, you know. So it is just a brief roadmap for you for this entire process. I hope that's clear, Mr. Johnson. Good. भैया ये पूरा फाइनेंशियल इवैल्यूएशन करना है, प्लीज ये भूलना नहीं है कि द एंटायर पर्सपेक्टिव टू लुक एट दिस इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज विल बी अ फाइनेंशियल पर्सपेक्टिव. Other considerations may be involving your satisfaction, may be involving your personal emotions, may be involving your personal commitments are not taken into account over here. It will be purely from the cash inflow and cash outflow perspective. Well, so we may go to a capital budgeting techniques now. And the first and foremost technique which I'm introducing, very simple to understand, we people are doing that as well, but still, let me just name that technique, which is a payback period. All those people who have either started some business or they have got some experience through their parents of starting some business, they are aware that the first thing we do is to see that what is the payback period of any project. So let's go to a payback period. Well, the payback period is the first capital budgeting technique. Let's again go to the steps of this capital budgeting process. We are right now here into this decision making. And this decision making can be done by using the capital budgeting techniques. So we are right now into a first technique, which is a payback period. Discounting and non-discounting, I'll come in some time to come. As the name itself suggests, let's go to a meaning of it. The payback period is the length of time required to recover the initial cash outlay on the project. So say you spend 5 lakhs rupees as the initial cash outlay. Then in how many number of years and months and days to come, this 5 lakhs rupees will be recovered back from the business. That is the payback period. And generally, shorter the payback period is, better the investment is. This is the evaluation criteria for the payback period. Shorter the payback period, better it is for a company, because you are able to recover your money back within a short frame of time. So all the firms which are using this criteria for capital budgeting decisions, they have generally a specified benchmark acceptable payback period, that, in this project, based on the industry experience, it may be a benchmark that you should be able to cover up your entire capital investment just in 5 years. So in your case, if it is taking say 6 years, then you may further investigate the reasons behind it, or you may just straight away reject your proposal because it is much more than the industry standard. So your task over here, being a financial analyst, will be to see that where your payback period is in comparison to a industry standard. So in the past, in the same industry, if we have seen that the similar kind of the project are having the payback period of 5 to 6 years, then accordingly you may take the decisions. Well, how do you evaluate that? It's very, very simple to do so. Whatever the initial outlay you have, and if you have the cash inflow, now please put it in the back of your mind. I want the focus of everyone over here again, that finance is more about cash inflow and outflow. Now, profits and cash inflow and outflow, these are two different things. Profit is not same as cash inflow and outflow, because profit may involve some non-cash expenditure, profit may involve some non-cash income, profit may involve some accrued expenses, profit may involve some advance incomes. So profit is not equal to cash inflow and outflow. Profit is an accounting term, but cash inflow or cash outflow is a finance term. Now, why more focus and emphasis is always there on the cash inflow and outflow in the finance? Because for finance, it matters that where these cash flows are occurring, whether they are occurring in this year or in a next year, that matters. Why that matters? Because there is a concept called time value of money. In accounting, you may record some income even though those incomes are not received by you in a cash, right? But for finance, it matters because I want to record it whenever they will actually be received, not as per the accounting records. Because there is a time value of money which is strictly followed over here. If you receive some money today or if you receive some money after 1 year, that matters. We do a lot of discounting over here. We do a lot of other things too, right? Present value, future value calculations we do. So now you will understand in this module, that if you had put the focus over there in the time value of money, then the things would be pretty easy for you to understand in this. So that's why our focus will always be over here, barring few other techniques like accounting rate of return, which involves the profit. Rest everywhere, you will see that cash inflows and cash outflows are taken into account. At what time exactly the cash inflows and outflows are occurring, that matters more to you. That's why you take the cash. Okay, so initial cash outflow divided by cash inflow per annum. If the cash inflow is constant over a period of time, but that is the idealist situation, practically no nowhere such kind of things happens. Do you see हर बार आपको हर साल में 1-1 लाख रुपए ही मिलेंगे in business and professions? No, it's not possible. But yes, in some fixed income generating investments, it is possible that you may receive the fixed cash inflow per annum. Say if someone tells you that by 2 lakhs, so 5 years is your payback period, as simple as that. But if I tell you that in the first year you have received 2 lakhs, then in the second year 2 lakh 50, then third year 2 lakh 70, and these amounts are fluctuating, then this formula cannot be used. So let's go to straight away the questions. So my friends, fellas and fellies, please take a snap of this first question. It's 12:41. I guess at 12:45 our lecture will be over. Fine, you may just take a snap of it. We'll be solving it in the next session. And I have got 2 extra lectures for the upcoming 3 to 4 weeks pending before your end semester examination. So in every week we'll take 2 extra sessions. I'll confirm the time with academic coordinators, and I'll put a note of this in your WhatsApp group today itself. Is it clear, my friends? Please take a snap of it. You may start solving it as well at your end. Anyway, we are going to solve it in the next session, but in case if you want to take it, you may take it, please. These are few questions we are going to solve related to payback period, and then we'll move to a next capital budgeting technique. Okay, so that's it from my side as far as this lecture is concerned. If you have any queries or questions, please let me know. Else you may just put your enrollment number as a mark of your attendance. Bye-bye, take care, sayonara. Enjoy the rest of the day. See you all in the next session with some numerical exercises. Bye-bye, take care.